I'd like to welcome everybody to the third episode of Modern Gaming Woody and Noble. Hello, YouTube. What's up? We were supposed to do this yesterday, but I didn't really feel like doing it yesterday because I kind of had a rough day, but that's all good. You know, we're just chilling. I don't know, man. I've just been playing Valorant all week. So I got, like, I was looking at Twitter to look at, like, what has been going on, but it seems like everything's kind of boring at the moment. There isn't too much going on.
No, because it's literally like so much stuff going on about Valorant still. Like, and we're
a lot of Valorant tournaments, which is fun.
It is both like large scale, like the 100 Thieves tournament that happened on a couple days ago, I think on Tuesday, and then there's a lot of smaller scale tournaments that are like free to enter, $100 to win, things like that. So it's really giving a lot of different people the opportunity to get into that competitive scene and just kind of see maybe where you stack up, because obviously people like that are repping 100 Thieves aren't going to play in like the $100 tournament, right? They're going to play in like the ones that are probably offering 4 or 5 figures, things like that. So definitely get out on Twitter, social media, et cetera, and just kind of check out and look for all those tournaments because they're literally popping up. Like, there are dozens of tournaments probably running daily. So get your squad together. If you don't have a squad, get in to Discords, look for free agent pools, et cetera, and just enjoy it. I know I haven't played a ton, but I think I've gotten better from like the first full day that I've played until now, and then there's so much content out there, guys, that you can literally improve leaps and bounds just by watching and understanding and not being afraid to try new things, put yourself in different situations, et cetera. So, just stay positive, stick with it, and you will improve 100%.
Yeah, easily. Like, there are things that you can just go back in, like, Shroud's VOD on Mixer for that 100 Thieves tournament and just watch him play. And just watch him play. Watch, like, it's the habits. Like, obviously, you're not going to have Shroud's aim or something like that, but you can still, like, practice the same habits that Shroud does, like, in the game. Like, movement you can copy and replicate it and stuff like that. That puts himself in good positions throughout the game. But, like, just watching those guys play, what they do, how they use abilities, stuff like that, so good, so fun. I already knew Valorant was gonna be a really fun game to watch, like tournaments and stuff like that, especially when you play it. I feel like Valorant's kind of hard when you don't play, like hard to watch when you don't play. I think CS:GO is kind of the same way too, because it's kind of hard to. I never played CS:GO, that's why I didn't really care to watch it, because I think it's hard to have an appreciation for how good people are. I think golf's the same way. Like, when I was younger, hated golf until I played it. And then I realized, I was like, wow, this is hard as shit. And then you get a much more of an appreciation for how good people are, like the highest level. Like the shots they hit and stuff like that.
Yeah, golf is not my game. I'm like a professional putter, and that's about it. Like, you put me on like a driving range, like, yeah, I can like have a beer or whatever at the Top Golf deal and hit some balls and have some fun with it, but I'm not a regular golfer. Not at all.
Yeah, I wish I could golf right now. I really do. I'd give anything to be able to golf right now.
But in the midst of all the Valorant talk and games and tournaments, things like that, there are and have been other somewhat notable, news stories that we want to kind of get into and discuss and just kind of get out there, see what people think about them. The first one being that earlier this week, Sony announced their launch plans for the PS5. So the two biggest details, which the first one I think kind of caught a lot of people off guard with it being a console release, is that they said they were going to release the first batch in limited quantity. You can put your air quotes in there, but that's the statement from Sony. Take that for whatever you will. And they're estimating the price point to be somewhere between the $500 to $550 range. So my question to you, Woody, is: do you think that's a fair price? Or maybe even a better way to ask it is, how much would you pay for a next gen console?
I wouldn't.
like at all. Like you wouldn't buy one.
I mean, I don't really plan on buying one. I've owned every PlayStation up until this point, but I really don't plan on buying the PS5 because ever since, like, I don't know, PC is just kind of, you know, it's over everything else. Like every game that I play, pretty much, like if I want to compete in it, I mean, of course, Valorant's like only on PC, but I mean, even Fortnite, you know, like you need to be on PC. But I would still very much consider getting a PlayStation, depending on their, you know, like PlayStation exclusives in the games they have planned to come out on that console only. But when you say 500,
yeah,
what was the price range?
500 to 550 is what I've consistently read over the last 3 or 4 days.
That's a lot, though.
It is.
That's
it's
a
no
lot.
different. I think the Xbox One, not the One X, but the One, when it initially launched, they retailed at 500. I think the PS4s retailed at 400, if memory serves me correctly. I would imagine that the Xbox Series X will probably come in at a similar price point, just because the specs look so similar between the two. I don't know how you could make it any cheaper than $500 to launch.
I get they're improving the specs and everything. I don't know. I mean, in my eyes, if you had $500, I guess, I mean, it's different if you're like buying it for your kid or something, but if you were an individual and you had $550 or something like that, I would tell you to just wait and save a few hundred and buy it and build a PC. That's what I would tell you. But I mean, again, it depends on what games you're playing. I guess I would have to tell you, like, if that price is worth it, pretty much solely based on what exclusives they have coming out. Because, I mean, I've told you this before, like, I would literally buy a Nintendo Switch just to play Breath of the Wild. If you offer me, like, I would pay $300 to go buy a Nintendo Switch in Breath of the Wild just to play that game solely and then never touch the Switch again. So it's like, I mean, I would buy a PlayStation, like if they said they were going to come out with more Uncharted games, I'd buy PS5. Absolutely. It really just depends on what they plan
what
coming
those
out
exclusives
with
are.
Yeah,
and I think, honestly, the
are.
only one that they have right now is The Last of Us Part 2, which is launching on the PS4.
Well, I think aren't they putting Last of Us on PC too? Or no?
No, not that I've.
What am I?
There were reports.
They
were talking about Days Gone and something else, but those reports were refuted by Sony.
I think they were putting Horizon Zero Dawn on PC soon.
Yes, that game is confirmed, and that will. Yeah. Honestly, if you haven't played Horizon Zero Dawn, I don't know what you're waiting for. That game was
probably. Wait, is it on PC right now?
I don't think so. I think it's supposed to launch in like June or July. That will literally be.
I'll probably play another playthrough of that game when it comes out on PC.
And the DLC. That game was so good
because it was fantastic.
It was so good. It just felt so clean, like a completely different style of combat. Like on the outside, you know, you're looking at like, oh, you're this kind of jungle warrior with a bow and you're fighting mechanical dinosaurs, and then you get into the game and you're like, oh my god, this is so good. Like I literally couldn't stop playing.
Fantastic. It was fantastic.
But like I would agree with you that if I'm going either way, right? Like whether you're PC master race or you're looking at a PS5, you're looking at an Xbox Series X, it's literally going to come down to the exclusives, right? Like,
well, for me, for anyone that has a PC, yeah, absolutely. Like, because I mean, for me, why would I spend? I mean, I'd rather take $550 if the exclusives are worth it. I'd rather take $550 and like buy a new part or something for my PC. You know, just upgrade it, you know, or something like that. So, I mean, they're really, unless exclusives are worth it to me, I'm not gonna do it.
And especially if you have a high-powered enough PC and you're already with Xbox Live, like you get the Game Pass via PC. Right. So you're already going to get 100+ titles. You get in with the Game Pass, you get all Microsoft exclusives on day one, right? So like Halo Infinite, any new Gears of War title, any Forza title,
Sea of Thieves.
Sea of Thieves, the list goes on. You're going to be able to play that on PC as long as you have an Xbox account, right?
Right.
Sony, with Horizon Zero Dawn coming to PC, is literally the first exclusive that they've let out to any other platform. Now they are losing.
Is it going to Steam? Or
that I'm not 100% sure of. I don't know who's getting it. I would imagine that's whoever does get it. It's probably an exclusive deal through them.
Probably.
And then Sony is losing MLB The Show starting next year. That's going to be a multi-platform game, which is actually huge for Xbox because it's literally the only baseball game worth playing.
Oh, absolutely. 2K's shit.
By far. Like, the show has been the best for years and years and years.
Yeah, it's not even close.
That's one of the reasons I bought my PS4 initially. Was for that game. It's so good. And it literally gets better every single year.
Yep.
But, yeah, and with the way that they're launching in the holiday season, like, you're going to have parents that obviously their kids are going to want one, if not both. And even to buy one, it's like, $500, like, boom, there's Christmas, and they're probably not going to come with games, right? So, backwards compatibility is huge, and then if they don't come packaged with anything, well, that's its own can of worms there too. But it'll be interesting to see what Microsoft counters with, like if Microsoft somehow miraculously comes out and they're like, the Series X is going to be $450. Like, boom, okay, you win the price war. But at the end of the day, I think for the last 7 years, it's been Sony's exclusives
PlayStation will be
significantly better than what Microsoft has offered. That's where Microsoft needs to catch up. They're going to need to create.
It's mainly because of exclusives. I mean, like, PlayStation exclusives are just light years ahead.
They are, and they're not. And most of the time, they're not even multiplayer exclusives. You look at God of War, The Last of Us Part 1 and 2, Horizon Zero Dawn, Spider-Man, Detroit Become Human. Like, these are all single-player games, guys. Like, these aren't multiplayer, blockbuster hits that Sony comes up with. They put a lot of time into their single-player exclusives and stories and things like that to bring their player base something truly fantastic.
And Uncharted too, but I wish they would just come out with more games.
Yeah.
But I know Uncharted 4 is so good. Oh my god.
Yeah, and never say never. 5. I never say never. I'm holding out hope that there'll be either like an Uncharted 5 or
even if they
or just another game not from Nathan's perspective.
like Lost Legacy. Did you play that one?
I did. Yep.
That came out after Uncharted, and that was good too. That was great.
Yeah, give me something where like Drake becomes the new Sully and mentors something like,
or maybe like game from like Sam's perspective or something.
Yeah, like it literally doesn't matter. You put Uncharted on a PlayStation box, I'm buying it.
Oh, I'll fucking play it. Yeah. Like if it's called Uncharted, I will buy it because I know it's gonna be good. I don't care what story it is. I just know it's gonna be good.
And let's just be honest. We need the Uncharted movie with Nathan Fillion, please.
Seriously, that'd be really good.
Not even gamers everywhere, like cinema needs that movie to happen.
Yeah,
like it would be fantastic. So I saw a couple days ago that on Nate Shot and Courage's podcast, they were talking to Lupo about would a potential ranking system for Fortnite save the game, right? I mean, you have Arena, which gives you your points and things like that kind of, to a certain degree, I guess, takes the skill-based matchmaking out of it. But they were talking about more just stripping skill-based matchmaking out of the game entirely and putting a more traditional ranking system in something like Blizzard has done with almost all of their games, something like Valorant is talking about doing, where you tier it out, and then at the end either put like a top 500 or top 200, whatever it is, but so it's very transparent. And I was doing some research and found that this website, FortniteTracker.com, I guess if you sign up for their website, I'm assuming it's probably free, that it'll give you a rating tier within their website that starts at 0 and goes all the way up to 5,000, and then you have the top 500.
Yeah, I used Fortnite Tracker for like basically everything when I was competing in events and stuff like that, for like leaderboards and whatnot, placings and blah blah blah. I'm kind of with like I don't know how much you watched with it, but for like anybody that didn't see that episode on the Courage and H show, like I'm kind of with Courage and Lupo, what they said. Like personally for them, a ranking system wouldn't bring them back to the game, and personally for me it wouldn't either. I mean, it'd be good. I mean, something like they've needed to fix Arena for a long time. What they really should have done is put out a simple leaderboard, like, you know, make Arena points worth something. Put out a simple leaderboard and just offer in-game cosmetics to earn. It's not that hard. Like something like, you don't have to offer money. You don't have to offer anything like that. Just simple like in-game cosmetics that you can earn by hitting this amount of points or something like that. People will grind for that. And the games will be better quality too. But really for Fortnite, it's about just fixing all the bugs, the consistent, like, just shitty play, man. I mean, it's every single tournament that they run is garbage. There's always bugs every time. Like you play FNCS, you're probably guaranteed to have you or your teammate like DC at least one of your like 10 games to qualify. And you're gonna have bugs within the game too. I mean, it's not good. It's just like the game itself, there's bugs that have existed in the game for months at a time. I mean, snipers are still blanking shots, and they've been doing that since November. So like there would be a lot of things that would need to happen for me to go back to that game.
Do you think
as much
that
as I want to,
that the server issues are because crossplay exists, like with skill-based matchmaking? Like, would it be better if they literally just separated and went back to PC plays against PC, PlayStation against PlayStation, Xbox versus Xbox, mobile against mobile, and then you only open crossplay up when you're qualifying for the World Cup?
Play.
Not even just basic tournaments, just the World Cup. That's it. Every other tournament, like, you offer them on every platform.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And that way, like, you're only affecting the servers that you're playing on.
I mean, I'm sure that would improve servers. Sure. I mean, I wouldn't say that's the cause of it, because they've had good servers before through cross-platform, and I mean, it only got so bad since, like, I would say December to January until now. It's been at its worst. So, and I mean, they've had cross-platform for, you know, practically 2 years now up to this point. So I wouldn't say it's the only reason. I'm sure it'd improve it for sure, but I wouldn't say it's the only reason it's bad.
Because my biggest question with a ranking system for a game that has crossplay as wide as Fortnite does is that, you know, just looking at Fortnite trackers, like, let's say that I'm Epic, which in theory sounds good if I've got a 4,000 tier rating when the max is 5,000. But my question as a player would be, okay, who is that? Like, what does that 4,000 represent, right? Like,
it doesn't represent anything.
Am I beating mostly PC players to get there? Am I beating more console players to get there? Like, I might be rated Epic, but against who, right? Like,
literally,
like Overwatch for me, it's very cut and dry. Like, I know right now, I'm like 3150 against PC players in my elo. Like, it's very cut and dry. Like, I know what I have to do to get to Masters. I know, you know, ballpark who I'm playing against. There's no question there. Like, I can feel good about my rating when I win a game. In Fortnite, I don't know that you can say that.
Fortnite's so dog. It's so dog shit. Like, competitive is just, it's so bad. It's mainly because, like, there is no correlation with anything. Going into every single tournament, I mean, like, it's a brand new thing every time. And anybody can compete in it practically, and, you know, there's no correlation, like, whatsoever with any of their cash cups, blah blah blah. Like, it's all just money thrown out there with, like, zero correlation to any of it. And the only reason people are still playing the game is because there's money being thrown around.
And I would probably argue that it hasn't been any harder to get into Fortnite as it is right now, when every game, regardless of what lobby you jump into, is a sweat.
Public matches are terrible, and I don't care what anyone says about skill-based matchmaking. It ruined the game. I don't give a shit if you're a casual player. I don't care. It ruined the game for literally, like, every single content creator, even the medium people, even the people that play a little bit more than, like, you casually would and are somewhat good. like those are the people that got absolutely screwed. Like if you're good at a game but you really didn't play very often, you're screwed, because since you're a little bit good, you're getting put into sweat lobbies with people that play every day, and it's like you're just getting screwed over. Playing with people was a just absolute trash just system, because like if I wanted to play with my friends, they would get into my lobbies and then they complain because we're getting sweated on. I would complain because I'm basically trying to play 1v4, and it's not a good time at all. You can't, like, you can't play casually. It's a terrible time. I don't give a shit about new players. I don't care. Like, like, I mean, Epic maybe should, sure, and that's why you put a beginner's mode out there for the first, like, give them until level 25 on their account or something, and then they can go into regular public matches. Like, it's a public match for a reason. There's a rank system for a reason. If you're bad at the game, play the ranks, and you'll play against other bad players until you rank up, until you get better. It's that simple. Like, I don't understand why it's so hard. And they clearly ruined their game with skill-based matchmaking, and no one can tell me differently. It was so bad. It went downhill ever since they put it in the game.
And it's a fair assessment. We've talked about, and I don't play a ton of Fortnite. I read most of my information about it, but like everybody, I think it's to the point now with Fortnite that everybody can't be wrong, right? It's not like you've got a couple people complaining here, there, aim assist here, blah blah blah. Like literally everybody who used to play the game is echoing the same sentiment, that skill-based matchmaking ruined the game.
Yeah.
So at this point, it's on Epic to do really one of two things. They can leave the game the way it is, or they can
lost their content creators, pretty much.
So you don't think there's any way that they could bring them back?
They remove skill-based matchmaking. That's how. Like Jack mentioned it in that episode too.
He did,
about how skill-based matchmaking. Like if they put out a tweet saying they remove skill-based matchmaking in pubs, people play it tomorrow, guaranteed. Because they can do stupid shit. They can have fun in squads and do whatever like they used to. Guaranteed. That's the only way.
Do you think, is somebody who's played as much of the Valorant beta as you have, would you drop Valorant tomorrow to go play Fortnite if they fixed it?
If they remove skill-based matchmaking, yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't drop Valorant entirely.
Right, but you would
play Fortnite tomorrow, though, yeah. Like, I mean, I would 100% like split it or something. I would at least play it, yeah.
No, it's Fortnite in general is good for esports when it's good, right? I mean, regardless what you're going to say about the player base and this and that, but it'd be one thing if the game just died because of naturally because of the player base, but it's kind of a rough pill to swallow to watch a company just implode their own game that was so successful for, a few years, and just really not do anything to try to fix it, at least publicly.
Jack said the same thing in that episode. Like, if you would have told him that the last event that he would have casted would have been the World Cup after how well that went, I mean, he would have called you crazy, which is 100% true. I would have called you crazy as well. The dumb part is that, like, since then, they have not had an official Fortnite broadcast since. And that's also a huge problem. Literally every single broadcast for any Fortnite tournament since then has been through the community, from people doing it themselves. And, like, I think that's the saddest part, is, like, the Fortnite community is so strong. There's a lot of people that are very passionate about it. People like Sundown, Balla, those guys, especially Balla. I mean, he puts on an official broadcast when he travels to freaking Anaheim to go to DreamHack. Using his own money to do all that and everything to be able to stream it. And, it I don't know, it just really sucks to see Epic kind of treat the comp community the way they have with like how good it is. It's just kind of slap to the face, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, at this point, you can only hope that they do something to fix it, or it really would be the end of Fortnite as people know it for sure, and then everybody's gonna have to go find the next big thing on console to get into. So I want to circle back to something that we discussed the first episode when it came to loot boxes and gambling, and kind of gave my perspective from being in the casino industry for the past 8 years. And I read an article today that the Nevada Gaming Control Board, which is the entity that basically governs all casino and gambling operations in the state of Nevada, you know, not just Las Vegas, but the entire state. And the article stated that the control board was now going to allow gambling on esports. They're going to allow it in casinos once the world opens back up and things like that, but mobile apps through casinos are going to start allowing wagering to be done in a condensed format where you can either take like individual match wins, head-to-head series matches, or you can bet on who's going to win an entire tournament, right? They've approved bets on 4 different esports series. Initially, they approved Counter-Strike's ESL Pro League in North America and Germany, and then they opened it to a Dota 2 event. NASCAR, with them being shut down, they've moved to a digital series via iRacing.com, and you can now wager on that. And you can also, after today's announcement, do it for the League of Legends Championship Series. The European Championship and Overwatch League are now also available for gambling in Vegas, as is the Call of Duty League, which was approved Thursday. Obviously, your typical sports fans aren't going to be, you know, kind of up to date on betting on esports and what is this, but the main demographic they're targeting is at 18 to 35. People that are gamers that follow these leagues, that are, you know, either quickly approaching that legal gambling age or are already that age, that follow this stuff, that could potentially, you know, look to profit off of it.
Right.
They're not all in on it, because obviously the big concern from the casino side of it is match fixing, right? Which we've already seen in major tournaments and things like that in the past. But especially now, if you open it up to the entire strip, it's only going to take somebody to get into the ear of like a 15-year-old League of Legends player and like, hey, if you throw this match, there's $2 million in it for you.
Right.
You know, that kind of deal. It is not a countrywide or a federal or anything like that initiative. It is a state-by-state. There's a couple quotes in here from the CEO and the chairman of the Downtown Grand in Vegas. Said that each state has to approve a wager. Nobody can just approve all esports. There'd be cheating, no integrity. Right now you have to get approval for each match, so it's league dependent on top of it being state driven. So it's not just like Nevada woke up one day and said, boom, esports are legal to bet on. It's literally, that's why it's listing Overwatch League separately and Call of Duty League separately, et cetera, et cetera. But William Hill is the owner and operator of the Westgate Sportsbook, which is the largest sportsbook, not only in Vegas, but I believe in the world. And they're kind of leading this initiative as well. So, as somebody who's been in this business for 8 years, in Vegas, I think the big draw would be at the Luxor, because they have a 50,000 square foot esports arena, and now if you can literally go downstairs to the sportsbook at the Luxor, bet on a match, and then if they start booking major tournaments at that venue, and you can walk right upstairs and just watch your match, like, that's huge for that entire city.
Oh yeah.
And obviously the bigger the game is, the bigger the following is, the more people you get to show up. And it honestly kind of creates a vacation. It makes Vegas a vacation destination. right? Because people that are like, oh, I want to go to Vegas with my wife or my husband, but I have to bring my 15-year-old son. They can't gamble. What am I going to do with them? Well, I mean, take them out to Vegas with their friends and let them go watch the League of Legends World Championship while you're sitting at the pool or doing whatever. I mean,
yeah,
it's interesting, and I've actually been kind of waiting for an announcement like this to come up because I figured it was just a matter of time. But as somebody who's not in the industry, who's not of even legal age to gamble yet, I'm curious to know what your thoughts are on the whole kind of concept of esports and gambling.
I mean, it just makes sense. I mean, I'm kind of surprised it hasn't already been a thing, especially with like the way everything is right now, with no sports being played right now and everything. I mean, the only thing that's going on really is esports. So,
yep.
Kind of surprised it hadn't already come up. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's normal. It's sports. Like League of Legends Championship. What's the difference between betting on the League of Legends Championship than the World Series? There really isn't any. You know,
especially now. I mean, the article talks about match fixing, but look at what the Astros did 3 years ago in the World Series.
Right, exactly.
They literally cheated to win a world championship.
The entire season.
Yeah,
really.
I mean,
so,
you're going to argue that it could happen, to a kid behind a computer screen, but it's already happened to an entire team of some of the best baseball players in the world, whether they want to admit it or not. The evidence is there, so I don't know necessarily that there's any more of an inherent risk than there already was.
I would say there's less of a risk, to be honest. But
I think there's different factors, right? I mean, obviously there's no weather involved, right? So you're not going to have to wait like for a rain delay or a makeup date or something to be able to cash out on your bet, right? It's literally they're all indoors.
Yeah, no, it like all timing, everything like that. They're like esports really doesn't get canceled even in a pandemic. It doesn't get canceled. So like I mean, well, LAN events do, but you still have online tournaments all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah, and I don't know that
it's more consistent.
That the article mentions any. I think they're talking about like major world championships and LAN events. I didn't read anything in the article that stated anything about being online. The article cites a couple issues with match fixing. There was a League of Legends pro that did it in China. To where it's a lot of the issues are predicated in China,
right?
But it's not like widespread across the game. League of Legends, it's just, it's one of those things. And if it ends up becoming that, Vegas has their hand in the cookie jar, it might lead to more severe punishments to where,
right?
Something like that happens. There was a pretty high profile case where StarCraft 2 player Life, who was viewed as honestly one of, if not the best player in the world at the time, that he was dominating the global StarCraft 2 league and everything like that. He got accused and caught of match fixing at 16 years old and did a year and a half in jail. So there's just tens of millions of dollars that is here, and like I said, I'm not surprised that Vegas is trying to get a piece of it. And just for context, Vegas doesn't make a ton of money on sports books in general. It's just kind of like almost like an advertising piece or something to get people to come in. But the average casino on the Strip in Vegas makes like 5% on their sports book. So like if somebody goes in and bets $100, they're assuming that they're going to win $5, and the player's going to get the rest of it back. So they're not like, you have a sports book in Vegas because everybody else does. Right, like if you open a casino without one, like who's going to go there, kind of thing. But the volatility's still there. If tens of millions of dollars go into a huge boxing match and the fighter throws it, and now the casino's out a ton of money, it happens to everybody. So it's not just that one casino's going to get hit with it. Like they're all going to get hit the same way if something like that happens. So, but yeah, it'll be interesting. I'm actually going to probably check one of my apps later on tonight or tomorrow just to see if it's up is a betting option. And kind of see how it works in the same way. And I might be watching a lot more Overwatch League if that's the case, to be honest with you. So, but yeah, it's definitely something that I'll be keeping an eye on very closely. Even for the casino that I work at, like if this is actually a thing, to see if Vegas is going to be that first domino, to see what it takes for other states to do the same thing.
Right. I think you'll see a lot more too, because people. I mean, again, there's no sports for like a year practically.
Yeah, and I mean, even if they get back to them, there's going to be no fans, right? So,
right.
Even then, like even NASCAR today just announced that they were postponing another. They're now into May, where they're postponing races. I think they're 8 or 9 in, and they announced today they're still planning to get the entire season in. At some point, I don't see how that's feasible. Just like the NFL drafts next week. If this goes on for too much longer, and you start getting into OTA time and two-a-days and things like that, then the NFL will they'll have to do something. I think realistically, like their first move would be just to cancel the preseason.
Oh yeah.
Before they throw in the towel and get rid of the entire season, but yeah, definitely going to keep an eye on that one. And the last thing to discuss is Valorant related, actually, and it only came up because I was watching Jordan stream earlier, and he was in a game that was kind of back and forth. They'd win around, the other team would win 2, then his team would win 2, and kind of go back and forth, and then all of a sudden it got to 12-12, right? And for any of you that have played Valorant, you know that at 12-12, the game basically resets, takes all the ults, gives everybody $5,000, and it's one round to win the entire game. You don't get, there's no determination, who's on offense, who's on defense. It's just you're stuck kind of playing the hand that you're dealt. And I thought about it, and I was like, man, if I had spent an entire year playing Valorant, getting ready for a world championship, and I got into like a best of 5 or a best of 7, and I'm in game 7, 12-12, and the game puts me on attack. Like, what a gut punch that would be, because the game has literally just decided my fate, because anybody who's played Valorant knows that it's exponentially harder to win a round on attack than it is on defense. Not to say it's impossible, but it is very, very difficult.
Each map is definitely defense-oriented, yes. I mean, obviously, you'll have games where like the other team is just better, but like when you have 2 pro teams, the defense is probably going to win. Like, if you defend properly. Like, it's defense-oriented.
Right, and you know that when you get to that high-level caliber play, we're talking world championship level play, you know that every team is going to have a strategy for that situation.
Right.
And that's it. They will literally have a 12-12 attack and a 12-12 defensive strategy.
Yeah, I mean, like, for example, like, you have 12 rounds defense, then you switch or whatever, if you start an attack. But, like, if I'm starting on attack, like, I'm happy if we're, like, 4-8 on attack going into defense.
Yeah.
Again, just a regular game. Like, if we win 4 attack rounds, I'm good with that. I'm good 4-8. Anything better than that, to me, is a W.
I would agree with that. Honestly, I would. Like, anytime I get in a game and I'm like, oh man, we're 6-6 going to defense, like, it's a wrap.
Yeah.
Like, that's like a 13-8 game to me.
Yeah.
13-9, something like that. It's only when you're like 2-10 or worse that like, okay, the other team's just better.
Yeah.
That there's really nothing you can do about it. Even positioning and everything else, they're just going to roll you. But I would agree, anywhere from like 4-8 to 6-6, you should be feeling pretty good. If you come out of attack with a lead, I mean,
GG.
The other team, unless you like completely choke it away, the other team should just throw in the towel and give up.
Yeah.
Now, I don't know if Valorant is even looking, if Riot's looking into anything like this. I honestly don't even know if too many people have raised that question, but I mean,
I think it definitely needs to be adjusted. Like, honestly, I'm not a huge fan of taking away the ults. To me,
I'm not either.
I think you should. It should still be built upon what you were doing in the previous rounds.
Right. If it's 12-12, because you get an orb, you get like an ult point for every kill, right?
Right. Yeah.
Or death. So what they could do is they could just cut it in half for that final round, right? So like if you're a hero like if you're like a Sage or somebody like that who has 6, it now takes 3 ult points. So that you could like pick up an orb and get 2 kills and boom, you have an ult.
Yeah, okay.
Something to where you can still have an impact in that final round. The other thing that I thought of is that once it's 12-12, it's almost like it's kind of like overtime, like shootout style in soccer, something like that, to where, you know, you're on defense first. If you hold, then the other team has to hold. If they don't, you lose. If they hold, then it flips. So
it's like win by 2, essentially.
Kind of. But you basically, like, the only way to win would be for you to hold on defense when the other team doesn't. And it just goes. Like, it's infinite overtime until it happens.
Right.
Or if it got to, like, so many rounds, like after 3 or 4 ties, then it, you know, you could implement, you know, a system kind of like how Overwatch does it in overtime, where your first attack round, you get the amount of time that you built up. But
to me, what it should be for Valorant is it should be whatever you were on last. So, like, if you were defending second, you're defending on round 25. And, like, everything built up to that point, you should have, but you just get an extra 5K. It's like, for example, if someone was not, you know, because obviously, okay, so if you don't know, 5K will not get you heavy armor and an op, right?
It won't, but
so like no person in that last round is gonna have heavy armor and an op.
But I mean, I'll be honest. Like when I op, I don't buy heavy armor anymore. Because why would I? I mean, an op's gonna kill me in one shot, no matter what.
I mean, that's true.
So I honestly save the 1,000. Like I might buy small armor.
Like you should get, and even if you buy an op in that round, you can't really buy your. If you want any armor at all. I mean, if you don't buy armor, then yeah, you can buy your abilities. But
yeah, another part of the econ.
I just think you should get 5 in addition to what you had before. For everybody,
then up to the max of 12,000, or you want it to go to 17,000?
Yeah. No, you can go up to 12K. It's like whatever you had that pass round, just get 5K. If someone was on 0, they get 5K that round. If someone was on 2, they get 7K. You know, so
I would think that kind of takes away like the. Well, maybe it doesn't, because you still have to get to 12-12, right? So like if you're that team that's trailing, that's trying to chase them, like you really can't econ. Like, you have to buy every round to be able to get to 12-12.
Exactly.
But if you're that team in the lead, and you know that worst case scenario, you're going to overtime with an extra 5K, like, I could see myself, if I'm in that position, telling my entire team at 12-10, don't buy. Just literally, like, throw that round, go pistols.
Well, you should do that anyway, in any game. If you're up to 12-10, and you don't have money, you should throw that round anyway.
Well, even if we have money, I would say throw it, because then it guarantees that my entire team is going to have 12K for the final round.
I mean, you don't even need 12K, though, for the final round. mean, the max you're gonna buy is like 6,000.
Depending on what my abilities cost. I would like to see their econ expand, because I know you can't give money, right? You can only buy weapons. I would like to see them. I'd like there to be like a money exchange system for like abilities and shields. But like if I like, let's say I needed you to buy heavy armor for me, it would cost double. So like I could buy it for 1,000, but you could give me 2,000.
Kind of weird. I think they should also implement the system of like if your armor does not fully break, then you get it back.
Or I can repair it at a prorated amount.
Sure.
Like I shouldn't have like, let's say my, I forget what the 400 shields, like light armor. Like if my light armor only gets dinked down to 10, I should only have to pay 60% to get it back to 25.
Either that or like what I would do personally is for example, if you had heavy armor, if you had heavy armor and it was knocked down to like 10, it would charge back up to 25. It would charge up to light armor. If you survived that going to the next round. If it was over 25, it would charge back up to full. Something like that. Because I don't know, buying $1,000 armor when you got like one tapped for like 20, but like that 20 health is important, so you're gonna pay it.
Mm-hmm.
Like paying 1,000 for 20 armor is kind of dumb.
Or give me, like, take away one of the passive abilities from one of the current characters in the game. Like Sage can heal health. Give me a what, I can't remember, what are they calling them in this game?
What?
Like, are they champions or the heroes?
Agents.
Give one of the agents the ability to repair armor. Not the same character, to where Sage can't do both, right? Because then she's literally
OP as
an
shit.
OP character that like every pro team is going to have a Sage. But
she pretty much already is that too.
Mm-hmm.
So.
And you could even do it to where like you can't repair armor unless the agent is full health.
Right.
So that it forces Sage to use her health on either herself or somebody else, but then whoever the other agent is has to use the armor on the same person.
Right.
And you can only repair armor if that person had it. So you can't just go in like 100-0 and then get repaired and just magically give armor. I do think it would also be interesting if they put drops around the map. Like small ones. So like on like each capture point or like somewhere in the middle, you put like a 25 health for pickup. Or if you have like you could trade ult points for armor in the middle of a round.
I wouldn't like that personally.
Why not?
Because then it would just defeat no one would use their ults. People would just pay for armor.
I think they would, though. I mean, somebody like Viper's never giving up her ult to get armor if she can't afford it.
There's no, I absolutely would, because there's no point in ulting if I have no armor. People are still gonna win a gunfight against me most of the time, unless I'm like able to completely blindside them in my ult, which I mean I guess is possible. But I mean, even if I get the jump on them and I'm only 70 HP or something with no armor, it's still gonna be kind of difficult to win a gunfight.
Mm-hmm. And the other thing, kind of like, I haven't seen anybody get a knife kill in all the Valorant that I've watched.
Yeah, no one. I mean, you really can't get a knife kill unless the guy's like AFK or something.
So it's almost like why not just give me a sidearm? Like, give me that starting pistol as a permanent sidearm.
Well, they do.
But, like, as opposed to the knife. Like, give me something else other than that knife. Like, because really all it does is make me run faster.
Yeah, that's the point of it. I don't know. I don't know what you mean by like sidearm.
Like, give me something that has more utility than that knife does, because that knife literally gives me 0 value.
Well, the value is you're able to run faster. That's the value, isn't it?
Right, but I mean, I don't need the knife to do that. I mean, you could take it away from me and just give me the ability in the game to, like, put my weapon away and run faster. Like, if you want me to have a knife, let me be able to throw it at somebody.
I mean,
a last resort.
The knife's really just run faster and aesthetic. You know, selling skins, stuff like that. Kind of like how CSGO was.
Right, but I can't think of... I mean, even... I'm trying to think of, like... I can't think of another shooter that I've had a weapon on me from the start that I couldn't... that I got literally no value out of because of the way the game plays.
I mean, pickaxe in Fortnite.
But you could legitimately get a kill if you have to. Like, if you're in an axe fight, like at the immediate drop of a game, like you could have to win an axe fight to stay alive and get a chest. Like, there's no.
You can still do that in Valorant. I mean, you can get a knife kill. It's basically a one tap.
You can, but I mean, if it was that easy to do, I certainly would have. I mean, I've probably watched 40 or 50 hours of gameplay, even like clips on Twitch. Like, nobody has a knife kill in their clips.
I've definitely, like, I've had a few in games and stuff like that, but I mean, yeah, it's not common, but it's not supposed to be, you know. It's really just there just for the movement and aesthetic, really.
Well, to me, it comes across as like a lazy way to allow me to move faster. Like, literally, just like I said, just let me throw it. And then, like, I'm all for, in like a tactical game like this, like giving the player as many options as possible, but also punishing them for their decisions if it goes poorly. Like, sure, I can run as fast as I can if I have the knife, but if I choose to throw it to go for a headshot and I miss, well, now I can't run anymore. Like, to escape, like, unless I'm going to sprint, right? Like, I don't have that little extra boost in speed, but a knife to the head is a one-shot kill. So, like, instead of having to reload my gun, like, I could shoot my 6 bullets with the Phantom, and then I'm like, oh, I'm either dead or I have to hit this knife headshot. Like, I think it would create instances of, like, crazy plays to where, you know, somebody ducks and all of a sudden they gotta reload and they just jump out and hit this, like, ridiculous knife headshot to win a round.
I don't think that would happen very often.
I don't think so either, but it would get more value out of it than what it has now. Just to have that potential.
Yeah, I guess, but I don't really think that would make much of a difference anyway. Even if you could throw it, people still use guns. Guns are going to win no matter what. Pretty much. I don't know. I guess I just don't really see the point in making anything useful of the knife beyond what it already is.
Okay.
I don't think it would make much of an impact, really.
And I honestly think that's all I've got, guys. Definitely going to try to get this one uploaded within the next couple of days. If you haven't subscribed to the Modern Gaming YouTube channel, please do so. You know, we put all of our episodes out there. I know Woody's working on content to put up there. I've got like 7 or 8 Overwatch videos up there. I've got a montage up there. It's until we get to like Spotify or iTunes or something like that, it is the only place you can find our recorded podcasts. So any views, likes, subscribes, comments for questions, comment for future topics. If there's something you guys want to hear us talk about, please, let us do that. Give us an opportunity to do some of the research and get into it. We want to make this as interactive as possible. So whether it's on Twitter, YouTube comments, questions in Woody's stream, all that fun stuff. Just hit us up with all those questions and, give us the opportunity to answer them, shout you out, send people back your way, and any support is always appreciated.
Absolutely. Guys, I appreciate you listening, and we'll get some wonderful rest of your day. All right. See you guys.